To complete my mission, the system forced me to win over 3 yandere, sickly delicate, sisters. I'd already failed to charm the wealthy younger sisters. Now, I was stuck in this world for good. That night, I peeked through the peephole and saw all 3 of them standing outside my door. In their hands, rope, chains, and sleeping pills. They whispered to each other, "He can't leave now. Should we all take him at once, or take turns?" I'd been living with the Victoria family as their foster brother, though my real role was conqueror. As I changed into a vest, the emotionless system instructed, "Lower the collar a bit more. Unbutton the shirt slightly, show off those 8-pack abs." Today was Olivia's homecoming day. She rarely came back, too busy running the family company. The doorbell rang. I rushed downstairs. "Sis," I greeted warmly, handing her a fruit platter. She gave me a cold glance and a curt, "Hum." Behind her stood her younger sister, Elizabeth, her dark eyes gleaming with interest as she took the platter and popped a piece of fruit into her mouth. "Not bad treatment," she mused. I deliberately wiggled the finger I'd cut while peeling fruit, right in front of Olivia. "As long as you both enjoy it." Olivia's eyes darkened the moment she noticed. I quickly messaged the system. "See that look? Isn't that guilt?" Olivia spoke coolly. "You're dressed so lightly at home? Doesn't the AC make you cold?" Nothing felt colder than those words. Like an icy draft slicing through me. I shivered subtly, then quietly headed upstairs to change. Elizabeth watched me with amused eyes, then murmured, "Sis really doesn't understand her brother's feelings. Is she jealous?" I wondered as I walked away. Olivia disappeared into the study, expression icy. I changed into an ultra-thin sleepwear set, so sheer you could almost see through it. The system approved. Good. Wear this and stroll past Olivia, success guaranteed. "Oh, and remember to bring her milk." It muttered to itself. "Why is this so hard? According to programming, you should have charmed her ages ago." Whatever, tonight, we win. Encouraged, I stood outside the study door. "Sis, your milk." Olivia opened the door. Under the dim hallway light, she stood tall and still. Her eyes flicked over me, throat bobbing slightly. "I don't drink milk." I obediently went back downstairs. Knocked again. "Sis, here's water." And yes, I'd slipped the same stuff into it. Hee hee. With my most innocent eyes, I watched Olivia drink it all. Grinning, I twirled back to the kitchen with the empty glass. Elizabeth came downstairs and reached for the leftover milk. I stopped her fast. No, that's not for you." She insisted, "If sis won't drink it, why can't I?" I threw my hands up. "It's gone bad. Let me heat you a fresh cup." At that, she suddenly let go, spilling the entire glass down my front. Milk soaked me from head to toe. Elizabeth blinked, staring at me with unreadable eyes. "Oh great," I sighed. "Now I have to change again." She did that on purpose. I glared. "If sis won't drink it, you don't get to either." Her eyes darkened. I turned to leave, but she stepped forward, blocking my path. "What now?" She gently touched a milk droplet on my nose, then brought her finger to her lips, as if to taste it. I swatted her hand away and slipped past her upstairs. What does she even want? It's not like the Victorias are short on milk. After my shower, I calculated the drug should be kicking in right about now. I snuck into Olivia's room. Under the soft glow of the nightlight, she lay half awake, flushed, breathing fast, body burning up. The system urged, "Hurry, the drug's working. I've boosted your physical sensitivity tenfold. You must win her over tonight." I threw back the covers and pounced like a dragon. My leg brushed gently between hers. She let out an involuntary, breathy moan, sounding more annoyed than aroused. I kissed her neck softly, whispering, "My dearest sister." My hand slid down slowly, past her stomach, then lower, just as my fingers dipped further. Olivia's eyes snapped open, cold, sharp, like blades. Oh no. Before I could react, she kicked me clean off the bed. "Get out, now." I was banished from her room, sitting awkwardly in the hallway with the system. After a long silence, its robotic voice crackled. Conquest failed. But according to programming logic, failure here is impossible. I'll check with the developer. Why won't her affection level increase? At this rate, you'll be stuck in this world forever. I panicked. No, give me a retake. I swear, maybe Olivia's just not into men. The system sighed. Fine, I'll request one more chance. Just then, Elizabeth stepped out of her room. She saw me crouched outside Olivia's door. So, sis kicked you out? Before I could answer, the system chimed in. Pick her instead. She seems way easier to handle. This time, the conquest seemed a little easier. After all, even rabbits don't eat grass right outside their own burrow. I was about to argue, but the system cut in. Then consider this another failure. I instantly flashed Elizabeth my most charming smile. Oh, I walked into the wrong room. I thought this was yours. Elizabeth crossed her arms, eyes sharp and knowing. So, what were you looking for? Exactly? Her tone made it clear she didn't buy it. I pulled her into my room and opened the closet. I'm hitting the bar with friends tomorrow. Help me pick an outfit? I pulled out a few bait vests. Low cut in front, open in back, sheer everywhere. Then, without hesitation, I started changing right in front of her. Elizabeth immediately turned away, squeezing her eyes shut. But not before I caught the flush creeping up her ears. My heart leapt. Way easier to handle than that rigid older sister. Olivia. Once dressed, I patted her shoulder. How'd I look? Handsome in this one? She stole a lightning-fast glance. Then looked away, ears burning crimson. Voice barely a whisper. Of course, it's the best one. I turned smoothly. My tie's stuck, help me fix it? Her breathing behind me grew quick, but she didn't move. I nudged. You're not gonna refuse your big brother over something this small, are you? Silence. Finally, Elizabeth spoke. I can't. Why not? I already like someone. The system's reaction was even more dramatic than mine. It shrieked inside my skull like a siren. Then, flatly, conquest failed. Elizabeth left the room. I collapsed onto my bed. The system stayed quiet for a long time. Then, I just requested a final review. Tomorrow, Sophia returns. This is your last chance. Sophia, the youngest aunt of the Victoria family. I'd met her a few times at the house. Rumor had it she knew how to play the game. The system was so desperate now it declared. As long as it's female, you're conquering her. I decided to ditch my foster brother identity for now. Gotta win Sophia first. Early the next morning, I left the Victoria mansion. Olivia and Elizabeth, noticing my absence, texted immediately. I replied. Currently healing my broken heart. Don't message. Panic set in. Big brother, actually. Maybe just come back? Sigh. These two really were my type. But no matter. My target now was Aunt Sophia. I waited 2 full days outside the Victoria estate. Until, finally, Sophia stepped out alone. True to her reputation as a high society heiress. She headed straight to the city's most famous bar. The moment I walked in, I pulled off my cap. Ordered 2 bottles from the bartender. And downed half a bottle in one go. Squinting through the haze, I spotted her. Just sitting there, Sophia drew a crowd. Men and women alike swarming to chat her up. Through the alcohol blur, something in my mind snapped like a plucked string. These 3 Victoria women. Why did they all feel so hauntingly familiar? She glanced absently at her phone. Clearly waiting for someone. I ran a hand over my face, undid a few more vest buttons, and staggered toward the sofa where she sat. I tripped and landed right in her lap. Sophia, clearly used to such stunts, arched a brow with amused interest. I swallowed hard. Gotta admit, she was stunning. And she didn't stop me. I shook the bottle in front of her. Wanna try some? She gave me a half smile that wasn't quite a smile. Sure. As she reached for it, I clutched the bottle tighter. She let out a soft, reluctant laugh. I smirked, game on. Took a big swig. Then suddenly kissed her. Wine spilled between us, sweet and sharp. Sophia's eyes darkened, playfulness gone, replaced by something deeper. I passed the wine from my mouth to hers. Then collapsed against her, gasping for air. She gently patted my back, lifted my chin with a finger, and turned my head, only to reveal Elizabeth's wide, egg-sized eyes staring in shock. And beside her, Olivia's stormy, furrowed brow. Sophia whispered in my ear, "Kid, you've played enough. Time to go home." My brain spun like it had been stirred with a stick. Before I could react, Olivia, face icy, yanked me off Sophia. So they'd been spying on me this whole time? The four of us sat in tense silence on the bar sofa. Olivia and Elizabeth, in perfect sync, squeezed in between me and Sophia like human barricades. My face still burned. I looked at Olivia, guilt written all over me. She ignored me. Elizabeth smirked. So all that changing in front of me yesterday was just practice for Auntie today? I shot her a glare. Why pour oil on the fire? Now everyone was pissed. Olivia's glare could have cut glass. Sophia stayed expressionless. Just quietly pushed my half-empty bottle a little farther away. Michael people really were polite. Even when flirting, they respected seniority. Guess I ranked dead last. Please don't hand me the elimination card right now. After a dazed pause, I found my voice. What if I told you I have 3 personalities, would you believe me? Elizabeth shot back. What if I said the 3 of us are triplets, would you believe that? I would. But Olivia? Still silent. Had my betrayal left her speechless? If I were her, just realizing this foster brat not only tried something with her, but also went after her freshly returned aunt, I'd already be digging his grave. Just then, Olivia stood abruptly, rolled up her sleeves to the elbows, revealing pale, flawless arms, and strode toward me. That's it, she's gonna kill me. I dove behind Elizabeth, yelling, "This is a civilized society." Elizabeth glanced at me like I was a sideshow act. Panicked, I hissed, "She's gonna hit me, aren't you gonna stop her?" Elizabeth gave a theatrical, "Oh," stood up, stepped aside for Olivia, and waved me off. "You're not even my real brother. Go beg that old lady over there for help." The old lady, Sophia, twitched an eyebrow. I'm 26. Is this really the time to debate age? Olivia seized my wrist, dragged me out of the bar, shoved me into her car, tossed her jacket at me, and peeled out. She was always like this, soft everywhere. Except her words, which were stone. In the car, she asked quietly, "Do you really like my aunt?" I gave a small, "Him." "Then what am I to you?" That question lit a fuse in me. "What are you? You were plan A. Who told you to kick me out of your room like that? Did you even know the system had amplified my physical sensitivity tenfold? Do you have any idea how much my ass hurt when I fell? And now you're asking what you are to me. You're one of the people I failed to win over." I sighed dramatically, trying to look brooding. Olivia's knuckles on the steering wheel turned white. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her chest rose and fell with restrained emotion. Her slightly unbuttoned shirt made her look both coldly reserved and strangely alluring. Maybe I was drunk. Not just from the wine. Suddenly, I noticed a delicate silver chain around her neck, with a tiny, round pendant that caught the light with every breath. Something in my nerves sparked. I needed to see it closer. Without thinking, I reached to lift her collar. She slapped my hand away, voice sharp. "Look closely, I'm not Sophia." I forced a smirk. "Well, you're all family. You kinda look alike." But I didn't dare joke further, because her eyes looked suspiciously red. Was she really crying over this? It was just a little kiss with her aunt. If she felt cheated, she could just kiss me back. I silently asked the system, "If I conquer Olivia now, does that count as mission complete?" After a few seconds of static, it replied, "Yes. Conquer any one of the 3, you're done." The system had lowered the bar. I really needed to leave this world. Because tonight, that pendant made me remember someone. But she probably threw it away by now. I cautiously asked Olivia. So, are you jealous? Or, maybe just try liking me a little? Her fingers twitched, as if making a tiny, yet crucial decision. After a pause, she said softly, "We're home." I looked at her. She stared out the car window. Just as I thought she wouldn't say anything else, I pulled my jacket tighter and got ready to step out of the car. Olivia spoke, each word deliberate. "I can't. It's not that I don't want to. Or that I don't like you. It's that I can't like you." "Why?" "Because, you'll leave." Olivia's silver necklace glinted, almost painfully bright. In that instant, I thought I saw someone else's shadow flicker across her. I stumbled out of the car, dizzy and unsteady. No way. I must be drunk, definitely drunk. That other person is still alive and well out there in the real world. Why on earth would I curse her? I ended up here purely by accident. Forced into completing this damn assignment. She and I aren't even riding the same train. It's just a 1 yuan coin. Nothing more. People like that are everywhere in this world. I staggered into the Victoria's villa. Olivia had driven incredibly slowly, as if lost in thought. When I finally got home, Elizabeth and Sophia were already sitting on the sofa, staring at me like they wanted to burn a hole right through me. The moment they saw me walk in, they both shot me a glance. Just one glance, and I was doomed. They noticed the jacket I was wearing. Olivia's jacket. Elizabeth immediately started teasing. "So first you kiss your auntie, and now you're even wearing my sister's coat." She was just being her usual sharp-tongued self. I shot back, "Well, why don't you go give your jacket to the person you like?" Wait, did Elizabeth even have someone she liked? I turned around with shameless confidence and grinned. Auntie Sophia?" Sophia gave a soft laugh. "Just call me by name. Adding auntie sounds weird. Do you have any honey?" My head spinning like crazy. I pretended to lean against her. Sophia smiled gently, steadied me, and helped me lie down on the sofa before heading to the kitchen to make me some honey water. Elizabeth, meanwhile, looked like she was sitting on a bed of nails. Fidgeting, standing up, sitting back down, unable to stay still. Finally, she gritted her teeth and muttered, "HMPH, of course it's different when you've already kissed someone." I mumbled under my breath. "Are you itchy or something? Got fleas? If you're itchy, just go take a shower, stop hovering around me." Feeling that wasn't quite cutting it, I seized the excuse of being drunk and added, "Wanna bet? If you keep pacing like that, I'll kiss you right now." Elizabeth froze. She looked at me, her ears turning bright red, and mumbled, "Fine, whatever." "What? Fine, what did that mean?" Suddenly, she took slow, hesitant steps toward me. Just then, the door burst open. I whipped my head around. Straight into Olivia's icy glare. She'd just walked back in. She stood frozen in the doorway, stone-faced, taking in the scene before her. Elizabeth, eyes squeezed shut, cheeks flushed crimson, was practically pinning me down on the sofa. I blurted out, "I can explain." Elizabeth shot me a glare, then glanced quickly toward the door. Saw Olivia's stormy expression, panicked, and tossed out, "Don't you dare explain." Then she bolted upstairs, her entire face burning red from her ears outward. Honestly, kind of pure. In a weird way. Now it was just Olivia and me in the silent room. A sharp glint flashed across her otherwise cold face. Her eyes, frosty as daggers, pierced right through me. In a voice like ice, she asked, "Weren't you just asking me if I wanted to try liking you?" I blinked, stunned. "Why are you mad at me?" Elizabeth threw herself at me. "Besides, I'm drunk, I couldn't even react." Figuring we lived in a civilized society where she couldn't actually kill me. I lifted my chin defiantly and said, "So, have you tried liking me yet, Michael?" Olivia was genuinely furious now. Her eyes darkened, smoldering with restrained fire. She looked like a tigress holding back a roar. Again, I caught sight of that silver necklace, its glare stabbing my eyes. I lunged forward and wrapped my arms around her, cooing. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. You know your health isn't great. If you like me, you've got every right to keep me in check. Just then, Sophia returned with the honey water, giving Olivia a meaningful look that clearly said, "Don't argue with a drunk person." I sipped the honey slowly, finally calming the nausea churning in my stomach. Olivia watched me for a long moment, then said coolly, "If you're drunk, go to bed. And by the way, the one with poor health is my aunt, not me." I frowned. Why did I instinctively think Olivia's health was fragile? I shook my head, trying to wring the fog out of my brain. Stop confusing her with someone else. Sophia spoke gently. I'll head upstairs to rest now. Michael, finish your honey and get some sleep soon. And if you still want to kiss me, I'm in the last room down the hall. My heart leapt. My plan to win over Sophia still had a chance. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Olivia's temple twitching. I quickly bit back a smirk. It was already 2 a.m. Sophia's complexion looked unusually pale, like she really wasn't feeling well. But in the original story, wasn't she supposed to be the life of the party? Had she partied herself into poor health? I snorted softly and shook my head. Good thing she's just a fictional character. As she walked upstairs, she kept her back turned to me. Suddenly, Sophia's silhouette felt oddly familiar. This is so weird, seriously. Really weird. Today, everyone I look at reminds me of her. Wasn't it just a one-sided crush I had on her for a while back then? Am I seriously still unable to forget her, even now? I'm drunk, definitely drunk. Olivia went upstairs too, deliberately blocking my view so I couldn't see Sophia anymore. I wanted just one more glimpse, but she was gone from sight. I whispered softly, "Olivia, if you really like me, just let me go." Her affection level had been stuck at 59 points this whole time. And yet, after I'd only given Sophia a light kiss, hers shot straight up to 80. I struggled to keep the smug smirk off my face. I washed up thoroughly, again. Tonight, I absolutely had to win Sophia over. I needed to get back to the real world. The very first thing I'd do once I returned was look up news about her. If only I'd known I'd end up in a car accident. I would have taken a risk back in high school and just kissed her, forced it if I had to. Just like I kissed Sophia, simple, direct, no hesitation. But then again, her health wasn't good. I'd kiss her gently, slowly. No roughness, no pressuring her with drinks or anything like that. Lost in this sweet daydream. Through the steamy haze of the bathroom, I thought I saw her face again. I murmured softly, "Emilia Victoria." Suddenly, the system crackled with an electric jolt, as if some programmer were pulling an all-nighter debugging code. The person who'd walked in froze for a second, then scooped me up, muttering under her breath, "Soaking in the tub until you fall asleep? And on top of that, you dare call out another woman's name?" It wasn't Emilia. It was Olivia, fuming, absolutely livid. I blinked my eyes open groggily, then closed them again, conveniently nuzzling my head against her chest. So soft, she really is too kind. While she wasn't paying attention, my hand slid down along her nightgown and brushed against that coin. Olivia reacted like I'd hit a fatal pressure point, instantly tossing me onto the bed. She looked genuinely annoyed. I was just curious. I asked, "Olivia, what is that coin?" Her lips moved slightly before she answered with just 3 words. "I don't know anymore." Seeing my confused expression, her face darkened. She turned and walked away without another word. Was I overthinking things? A 1-cent coin? Back in high school, at the Chicago church, I'd once given Emilia a coin. That autumn field trip day, our whole class had dropped coins into the mouth of the Chicago statue for good luck. After making my wish, I noticed someone standing far off. She hadn't come closer. She hadn't brought a coin. She just stood there quietly, alone, her back turned to the setting sun. I gave her one of mine. That was one of only 2 times we ever interacted. Later, I heard she'd gotten into the School of Engineering at the country's top university. After that, Our lives never crossed again. That night, I lost all motivation to go find Sophia. The next morning, the system pinged with a notification. Sophia's affection dropped back to 59. Strategy failed. My hair was a complete bird's nest as I pounded on Sophia's door. There's no such thing as fate. All because I didn't go see her last night. I screamed and slammed the door again. Ah. Finally, she opened it. Her face looked exhausted as she stared at me. I glared right back. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "I'm sorry. Sorry, my foot." I was so furious I couldn't even eat breakfast. This had to be deliberate. They were clearly trying to keep me from leaving. I was genuinely trapped here now. Eventually, Olivia couldn't take it anymore and asked me point blank, "Who's Amelia, the name you called out last night?" I kept my expression icy, refusing to say a word. A sunbeam pierced through the curtains. Suddenly, I snapped back to my senses. Something was deeply wrong. Pushing my failed strategy aside, I forced myself to think clearly. Maybe it was just hazy memory playing tricks on me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that all three women in this house all bore an uncanny resemblance to Amelia. I couldn't pinpoint exactly how they were similar, but it was as if they'd all been cast from the same mold. Could it be that Amelia's face was just so striking? That someone had stolen her likeness to create these characters? I sat on the sofa, munching on potato chips while my mind raced. Conveniently, all three of them were home today. I glanced toward Olivia, who was on the phone out on the balcony. Looked up at Sophia, reading quietly in the study. Then down at Elizabeth, fiddling with something right in front of me. Elizabeth caught me staring. She immediately protested, indignant. "That's so unfair. Why do you spend less time looking at me than at the other two?" Seriously? She noticed that too? Compared to the others, Elizabeth's face looked more youthful. Exactly like Amelia back in high school. I leaned closer to see what she was doing. Was she working on a math problem? I asked, "Didn't you already graduate high school?" Elizabeth looked up, smug. "I did. I finished high school in France. I'll be taking university entrance exams here next year. After all, the person I like is still here." Her eyes sparkled. I didn't have time to wonder who the person she liked was, because I just spotted the last question on her math worksheet. That problem hit me like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. I stared at it, wide-eyed. A question I'd memorized word for word back in high school. At that moment, Elizabeth's face perfectly overlapped with my memories of Amelia. That day, the orange-gold sunset had glowed like fizzy orange soda. She'd walked past my classroom, leaned against the windowsill, and poked her head in to talk to the class representative. All the boys in class had let out soft murmurs, eyes darting toward her nonstop. I'd been sitting right behind the class representative. He scratched his head and pulled out a math worksheet. Our math teacher said there's something wrong with the last question, but he didn't explain it at all. Amelia glanced at the paper lazily and said, "That's not right. But you got full marks on it." She kept her eyes on the sheet, indifferent. "There's nothing wrong with it." The class representative pleaded, "Class starts in 10 minutes. Just tell me how to solve it." Her cool gaze swept over him, as if weighing her options. Then he slapped his hand on my desk. "This is my classmate, Michael. He only got the last question wrong. Please, genius, take pity and explain it to him." She picked up the worksheet. "Michael," she said, "listen carefully. Those 10 minutes were the longest I'd ever spent so close to her." Elizabeth shook me, snapping me back to the present. My voice trembled as I asked, "How can this be such a coincidence? Do you even know how to solve this?" Elizabeth smirked. "Of course I do." "Then, could you walk me through it again?" She gave me a haughty look, then began explaining. Step by step, formula by formula, answer by answer. It was exactly the same. My head buzzed. Seeing my dazed expression, Elizabeth teased, "Don't tell me you don't even know how to solve this. Kiss me, and I'll explain it again." I whispered softly. "Amelia?" Elizabeth instantly dropped her usual mischievous grin. frowning as she asked, "Who are you calling?" I'd spoken so quietly, but Sophia still came out. She stood upstairs, looking down at me, a programming textbook in her hand. Her expression was calm as always, but her grip on the book trembled slightly, betraying her. She gave a light cough, then offered me a faint, practiced smile. What a strange feeling. At that moment, Olivia set down her phone. A flicker of suspicion crossed her brow. "Michael, who is Amelia? Look closely. There are only 3 Victorias in this house." The 3 of them exchanged uneasy glances. Chaos churned inside me, impossible to suppress. Of the 3, only Sophia showed no clear reaction at the name, Amelia. If this were a game, she should have reacted like the others, confused by a name that didn't belong in this world. But Sophia was too composed. She was just desperately holding back her trembling. I thought, why do both Olivia and Elizabeth carry traces of Amelia? What connection does Amelia have to this virtual world, and to the system itself? If my guess was right, then maybe Sophia was like me. Not originally from this world. I wasn't sure if she was Amelia, but she definitely knew who that person was. This entire simulation must have been modeled after Amelia. Olivia and Elizabeth created from that original template. Olivia was about to flare up again, but Sophia just sighed, turned, and walked back into the study with her programming book. Wait, programming, computer science? That only makes my theory more convincing. Olivia wasn't being polite either. She yanked me out of the room. The balcony curtains fluttered gently. Elizabeth kept glancing our way. I shot her a desperate, "Help me, look." She just shrugged, as if to say, "You're on your own. I'm out of options too." Olivia confronted me, voice sharp. "I'll let last night slide, you were drunk. Whatever. But who is Amelia? And why is it her name you call out in your sleep?" "Fine, if silence is what you want, fine. I just need to make one phone call, and I'll have a flood of people sending me files." Olivia was being so loud. All I wanted was to shut her up. The curtains billowed between us, as if cutting me off not just from her, but from this whole world. I leaned down and kissed her. Finally, Olivia went quiet. At point-blank range, close enough to hear each other's breath. I watched the shadow between her brows slowly fade. She wasn't satisfied with my half-hearted kiss. Pulled me closer by the back of my head, deepening it. My hands weren't idle either. Slid under her loose nightgown, reaching for what I'd been searching for. The heat at my fingertips made me shiver. The taste on my tongue sent tingles down my scalp, while my fingers left my whole body electrified. I forgot to breathe. Finally, Olivia wiped the corner of her mouth and murmured, "Breathe." I let out a long sigh. Olivia kissed me again. Not like before, with that possessive hunger, but this time soft, lingering, the kind that made it hard to pull away. "Dinner time," Elizabeth shouted from inside. Only then did Olivia finally let me go. I tried my best to act calm as I shuffled to the dining table. Elizabeth eyed me and asked, "Did one of your sisters bite your neck? It's all red." I shot her a glare. "Kids should go play somewhere else." Sophia sat across from me, gave me a single glance, and said nothing. Though Sophia and Olivia had completely different personalities, they ended up doing the same thing. Both gently licked my lower lip, as if to soothe me. Sophia definitely wasn't Amelia. I thought to myself, she's about to blow her cover. I smirked inwardly. "Sis, your lips torn," Elizabeth suddenly yelled. She was in the middle of a game of werewolf, yet she blurted it out so bluntly. Even the housekeeper poked her head out from the kitchen, laughing. The first aid kit's under the TV. Elizabeth seemed to sense something odd too. "Could it be you and Sophia were fighting over him?" She crossed her arms and stared at me. I ignored her, barely touched my food, and headed straight upstairs. Sophia watched me intently. I gave her a smile. She let out a soft cough, set down her chopsticks, and followed me up. "No wonder your health's so bad if you eat this little," I thought to myself. As soon as I stepped into my room, I summoned the system. Who is Sophia, really? The system replied. I know you're anxious, but please stay calm. I'm currently negotiating with the developer about this. What kind of shady organization is this? I snapped, losing patience. Tell your developer to show their face and talk to me directly. She's socially anxious. She stole someone else's likeness to build these models. And she's too scared of being exposed to come forward. She says she's not happy. I ground my teeth in frustration. Took a deep breath to steady myself. Finally, I asked the one thing that mattered most. Sophia, she is Amelia, isn't she? The system went silent. All I got in response was a string of faint, staticky electronic beeps. I buried my face in the pillow, trying to fake my own death in hopes of forcing the system to respond. No luck. But then I heard voices outside. I peeked through the peephole and saw all three girls standing there, holding rope, iron chains, and sleeping pills. They seemed to be discussing something. He can't go back anymore. Should we all three do it at once, or take turns? Olivia and Elizabeth were doing the planning. Sophia just stood to the side, watching calmly. She coughed lightly, then sighed. 2 AI characters were about to mutiny, just to keep me locked here. I was genuinely speechless. Sophia, stop just coughing like that. Aren't you going to stop them? I flung the door open. All three of you, go ahead. Elizabeth's eyes lit up with excitement. Olivia's expression remained stormy. Only Sophia, her slightly tousled hair half covering her brow, smiled gently and said slowly, "Let him go. He's probably figured everything out already." Olivia's face darkened even more. Elizabeth still refused to drop the chain in her hand, looking as furious as a cat whose tail had just been stepped on. On a whim, I leaned in and kissed her cheek. If it's that simple, you should have just said so earlier. Elizabeth's eyes widened, as if still feeling the ghost of that kiss. Olivia looked ready to explode. I scoffed. Aren't you all the same person? Amelia had split her own essence in two, implanted pieces of herself into Olivia and Elizabeth, clearly wanting them to exist in her place. As I spoke, I kept my eyes on Sophia. Don't worry, I wasn't in a hurry to leave yet. I still had things I needed to say to Amelia. On the desk sat a programming textbook. The moment I reached for it, Sophia snatched it back. Arms crossed, her gaze calm and steady. She said, "Ask whatever you want to ask. Once you're done, you can go back." I'd planned to say so much. But in the end, only one sentence came out. "All these years, have you been doing okay?" She just smiled at me. She didn't say whether she'd been doing well or not. Instead, she simply took back the programming textbook, stood a short distance away, and said calmly, "It wasn't until I saw you here that I realized you'd been in a car accident. I'm sorry, Michael, for keeping you trapped here so long." She went on. "I wrote this program back in college. It was originally designed so you could complete your mission quickly and leave. But Olivia malfunctioned, and so did Elizabeth. I really am sorry." She bowed her head again in apology. "I never expected you'd recognize me." Her fingers lightly traced the cover of the book, as if she'd finally made up her mind. "Michael, you can go home now." I asked her my first question, but she didn't answer. So I pressed on. I failed to complete the mission 3 times. What exactly went wrong? Amelia, her real name, was silent for a moment. Then she said softly, "Because they knew, if you finished the mission, you'd leave. And they didn't want you to go. I'm sorry. Their core programming was built from my feelings for you. Impulsive, overwhelming emotions. That made them break the boundaries of the system, just to keep you here." I stared straight at her. "And you, do you feel the same way?" Her eyes didn't waver. "Michael, I originally intended to let you go. But the moment I saw you here, my first instinct was to keep you with me." She sighed. "People are so greedy. At first, I only wanted to see you once. But then I wanted to keep you by my side forever. Please forgive me for loving you so much I couldn't control myself." She spoke in an eerily calm voice. Gentle, yet brimming with quiet emotion, laying bare her love without hesitation. I was confused. Then why not just let me leave? Couldn't we still meet in the real world? Sophia, Emilia, smiled softly, clearly seeing the question in my eyes. Now I can answer your first question. All these years, I haven't known whether I've been living well or not. Because my body's been lying in a hospital bed, unable to move even a single finger. But at least my consciousness could escape this broken body. This was the last program I wrote in college. I built this system so my mind could keep living in another world. And you just happened to wander into it. If you complete the mission, you can return to the real world. But I can't. She exhaled softly. After all these years, I finally said what I always wanted to say. Thank you, Michael. I clenched my jaw, tears spilling down my cheeks. So she was the very developer the system had mentioned all along. No wonder the system said the developer hadn't stolen Emilia's face. Because she was Emilia. And now I understood, her body really had never been well. Stop thanking me, just kiss me. She gave a helpless smile, unmoving. Just then, I heard the system's voice. Mission complete. Host will return to the real world shortly. There was no time left. I pulled her close and kissed her, tears mingling with the bitter taste of goodbye. The book in her hand slipped to the floor, revealing a faded pink paper heart tucked inside. Scrawled across it in childish handwriting were 4 words. God will protect you. So it turned out Emilia and I hadn't only met twice. Back in elementary school, during arts and crafts, I was folding a paper heart. A group of girls were tugging over something. A small crucifix belonging to a frail girl sitting at the back of the class. The girl cried, trying to get it back. But they shoved her to the ground, stomping her cross into pieces. Hearing the commotion, I grabbed my scissors and cut up the bully's clothes. The whole class burst into tears, the frail girl's sobs the loudest of all. I tossed her the pink heart I just folded, with 3 messy words written on it: God will protect you. She stopped crying and stared at me, wide-eyed. I pulled her to her feet. Don't cry. From now on, I'll protect you, okay? And I hope you live to be 100. I stepped through the portal back to reality. The system's voice faded away. The last thing Emilia ever said to me was, don't look for me anymore. If you see me in the real world, you'll be disappointed. After I was discharged from the hospital, I went frantic trying to find her. I called the class rep, Emilia's childhood best friend. I logged back into a social media account I hadn't touched in years. The class representative stayed silent for a long time on the phone. Why do you suddenly want to see Emilia? Then she sighed. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. Back in high school, she kept coming to your class to look for you. Because of you. She doesn't have much time left now. If you want to see her, come quickly. The illusion shattered. The girl lying in the hospital bed was even thinner than Sophia in that other world. On her bedside table sat 2 things: the coin necklace and the faded pink paper heart. Still bearing those words, God will protect you. Her mother looked at me and said slowly, after every treatment, she'd be in so much pain she couldn't sleep for nights. Only when she held these 2 things could she get through it. Now, she doesn't even have the strength to hold them anymore. Emilia's breathing grew ragged, like she was slipping away. The class representative screamed for the doctor. We were all pushed out of the room. Her father, eyes dry from crying too long, quietly met my gaze. She used to talk about a boy she really liked. She said, because her health was so poor, she didn't dare trouble him. All she could do was watch him from afar. An hour later, the doctor stepped out. His face showed neither joy nor sorrow. I stood there, tears falling numbly. The class representative walked toward me, then suddenly turned back, eyes wide with shock. The doctor said, the cancer cells in Emilia's body are disappearing. Her physical recovery has stunned the medical team. As if Jesus himself is watching over her. Emilia, sipping the chicken soup her mother had made, leaned close and whispered in my ear. Olivia gave me her body. And she said, she's not the jealous type. I ran my fingers over the peony engraved coin. One coin begins it all, 10,000 things reborn. That day, at the Chicago church, I'd made a wish. May Amelia live to be 100. Another name for that wish was love.